when one is looking at art, right, in its purity, like what both of you are doing, you're artists, you're working, you're creating artwork, and you're doing it because you have to do it, right? You're not doing it because you are going for work. You have to make art, right? So when you're doing that, the idea of struggle, the people in the market sense, they say a struggling artist. And when people say struggling artist, it's not like Van Gogh who shot himself, or it's not like somebody who's in poverty and all of that stuff, right? I think any good artist or any good artwork has to come from struggle. And that struggle is not one between you and poverty, or you and market, or you and the gallery and society. The struggle is between you and the painting, you and the idea, you and the execution. Think about it. Your idea is three-dimensional, right? Your thought is three-dimensional. In fact, thought is unlimited, but your canvas is only 4 feet by 4 feet or 5 feet by 5 feet. The surface is only two-dimensional. So whenever you're attacking your painting or your drawing or whatever artwork you're making, you are struggling. And the result of that struggle is what makes the artwork. Correct? So that is where the artists are involved. That is where art is. That is what art should be. Correct? It should be the struggle. It should be the making. It should be the viewing. Now, market, surprisingly, is a very important part of art, because it creates, let us say that it is the fuel, right? You have a car, you have the car key, you have the wheels, but without petrol, it's not going to run. And the market, unfortunately, occupies the place of the fuel. I'm not even talking about money. Money is different, because you can sell artwork for 500 rupees, you can sell it for 5 crores also. That's not what I'm going to talk about. The fuel for both validation of your artwork, right? Finally, art, I don't know, I mean, there may be 1 or 2 people, or even you may be thinking, I am making art for myself. We understand that. But if that's the case, then you should not say I'm an artist. You will be making artwork, it will sit in your house 10 years or whatever, not 10, sorry, maybe 50 years from now, when somebody finds in your house some 5,000 paintings under your bed, then the market will come and say, oh, unknown artist who's now dead, and we found great work, and they'll promote you. But till that is not true, since that you guys are here, we're having this call, you're participating in residencies, you're discussing the idea of the market, it's very essential to understand what the market is, right? Who is the market? What is the market? And how do you approach it? It's like, think about if you're going into a forest or anywhere, you come across a puppy. When you see a puppy, you go to it, you cuddle, you pick it up, worst case scenario, if it bites you also, it's going to scratch you, right? Same thing if you come across a lion, you're not going to go stand there and say, hi lion, hello, how are you? You're going to run, or you're going to hide, right? So think of the art market as a lion, right? But it's actually not a lion, it's actually a two-faced, multi-faced political. It's like if you took the worst politician, add some 20, 30 lions, put some 40 snakes in it, bring in logic of Arnab Goswami, mix it together. That is what the art market is, right? One side you see people hugging and holding hands and like, hi, how are you? It's fancy. There is the whole idea of VIP, and there is the idea of, being invited, not being invited. There are people, fancy cars and hotels, and the other end you also have your, Jahangir Gallery, which is open to the public, and you have, very normal people walking in, people who want to appreciate. So it's such a large universe of things, right? The market. I'm not talking about the art world. I'm saying the market, because Jahangir Gallery is a market, Lalit Kala Academy is a market, and so is, say, Nature Mart as a gallery, or Delhi Art Gallery, or whoever, any big gallery that you know of, are all markets or auction houses, right? Whether it's Christie's or Sotheby's or whatever. So how to approach a gallery is $1 million question. Okay. I'll give you how I look at, so I also deal with artwork. I also help galleries look at artists. So when people in the residency come along and say, hey, we want to try and see if we can meet a gallery, how do we present our work to a gallery? So I tell them a few things. First of all, you either have to be one of two things. There's only, it's very, very clear. One, you're going to be a full introvert who cannot communicate, who doesn't talk, who just wants to make artwork, keep quiet and sit at home. If that's what you want to do, your work has to be so powerful. It has to have that level of depth and that level of power and uniqueness. That's only 1 in 1 million, right? That is too much of a chance. Like if I was going to bet against somebody like that, the chances are very, very, very low. I mean, how many artists do you know who are not, who are sitting quietly and not doing anything, right? Then you have the other type of artist who is a good communicator, who knows how to dress. When I say dress, I don't mean wear a suit and walk around. What I mean is they have an awareness of wearing good clothes, presenting themselves well. I'll give you a good example. Let's take somebody like, actually 2-3 people. Let's take somebody like Sudhir Patwardhan. Okay, I think he's the most balanced artist I've seen, but he's always dressed well. He's always wearing a pant, shirt, and shoes. He's always communicating. He comes for every single event. Even our residency, he comes. You do an event in Kolaba, he goes. From where he stays, how many kilometers is Kolaba, Amit? Must be 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers.
Yes.
Correct? And 2 hours of traffic. And then you tell, so he's always everywhere. And they've been doing that since the time he decided to become an artist. So first is participation, presentation, your own, like how are you presenting yourself? Who are you talking to? You don't have to hold a glass of wine and get drunk and, say random things. But when you go, if you see somebody, suddenly, oh, that's Ranjit Hoskote. Oh, that is Krishnamachari Bose. Oh, that is Amit Lodh, Vaishnavi Ram. So when you go there, you say, hi, how are you? I am an artist. I hope you remember me. We met here. Or hi, how are you doing? I know your work. I would love to meet you sometime. Right? Just simple hellos. Talk to them. That kind of communication is very important. I see a lot of artists not doing this basic level of talking. Right? It seems to be a very trivial matter, but this is the basic. And when they talk, and let's say somebody comes to me and says, hey, I'm an artist. I'm like, very good. What do you do? What do you work on? Some people are like, oh, come to my studio and say, I'm not going to come to your studio, right? It's not going to happen like today I meet you and tomorrow I come to your studio. Or if I ask you, you say, oh, I'm a painter, I'm working on, no. You have to be very precise and you have to say, I've actually been working only for the last 4 or 5 years. I'm a graduate from here. My practice is, say, a painting-based practice, or it's a paper-based practice, or I'm a sculptor. Just in 3 sentences, quickly introduce yourself, right? What do you do? What do you work on? What drives you? That's a good way to have a connection, right? Or say things like, I don't know, I mean, we have never met, but my classmate is so-and-so, he had a show here. It helps to associate, right? A lot of the times, because there are, even amongst galleries, amongst art curators, you're meeting hundreds of artists, right? Like on an average, like if you take our residency itself, there's now 150 artists. How do we possibly support 150 artists, right? We can do it once, but we can't continue to give opportunity for 150 artists, right? So we keep telling those people, participate, write to us. I mean, everybody writes to me. I'm very open. While I don't communicate during the residency, after the residency, I'm happy. I mean, there are many artists who come to me and talk to me and we try, and kind of encourage them. The ones who are in Bombay come for all our events that are happening, or like we do webinars now, join it. So the learning there is make yourself seen. It's important that people see you, because 2 things. Galleries can avoid you if they don't see you. But if they keep seeing you, they're forced to at some point, right? After the 10th time of seeing you, they'll talk to you because you become a familiar face. And if you're in the habit of going for art fairs, exhibitions, you see them in many places, they'll start talking to you. Then you show them the work. But importantly, always go to a gallery knowing what you're going to say, right? Like, what is your work about? How do you practice? What do you do? Do you have works? Don't go there and say, oh, I'm in this gallery, I have work here, I've done exhibition there. You don't have to say that. You have to say, this is my work. Can I send you an email with my images? Can we set up an appointment to come and talk to you, right? That's what they look for. The other thing that you guys need to do, and this is also critical, is know who you are approaching. Like, for example, if I'm going to, sorry, Maumita, where are you based?
I'm from Shantiniketan.
Okay, perfect. So I'm assuming galleries that you have access to are predominantly the ones in Calcutta, right? The ones like, I don't know, say Akar, Prakar, or Imami Art, or Seema, the few people who have galleries who are exhibiting. You should know who you're approaching or who you want to approach, right? You should not approach a gallery who is, say, showing only early Bengal masters and you go show your work. They may not even reciprocate, right? Or it's like going to Delhi Art Gallery and showing contemporary work. They do only the masters. It's like going to, say, Javeri Contemporary and saying, hey, I'm a traditional painter, I want to do Kalamkari or something. They're not going to take you. So first is always know who you're approaching, which gallery you're approaching. And galleries are always looking, right? Like at this point of time, we did, at least for my gallery in Chennai, we did an emerging artist program. We're still looking. We're seeing, and artists who suited my sentiment, right? People who suited my taste, what I think my clients want. And right now, for example, gallery, the trend is people want to look at artworks that are heavy on the technical skill, right? Are you a good draftsman? How is your drawing skill? How is your painting skill? Like if you see all the Kerala-based artists right now are doing very well because their paintings are highly saturated, highly narrative. It looks like a painting. I think unfortunately for the last 15 years, artists have been moving so far away from the painting that now people are saying, wait, I want to see paintings. Like when I say art, it has to be something on the wall which shows some skill, right? Like people are bored of videos, people are bored of seeing, like installations and sound art. And like quite honestly, Reena Kalath had a show at Chemold, which was about with these speakers and sound was coming and they were talking about recordings of migrants and all that. That's not an issue that I understand, or even you guys at your age, we have not come across, only now we're seeing migrant issues thanks to COVID, but we have not witnessed partition. We have not witnessed the kind of, issues that the older artists talk about. Even Gandhi, for example, is a topic you may have learned and become familiar with, but what is Gandhi to us, right? He was not somebody who we grew up with. He was not somebody that we are reacting to the way we would react to, say, somebody more contemporary. Maybe we would react more to somebody like, who's an activist who's doing some work today, right? Like that Greta, whatever, who's doing climate change, right? She's younger, you're seeing what she's doing. She's talking about an issue that matters to us, right? So it's very important that when you approach galleries that you are talking or they are fitting you, right? I'm not saying go to a gallery and if they want Gandhi, paint Gandhi. If they want paintings, paint paintings. If they want installation, give them installation. Go to a gallery that fits you, right? You should say, this is a gallery that understands my work, right? As opposed to, I want to be shown at Nature Mod. That's ambition. That is your ambition for your career. But you should say, this gallery would like my artwork because they are showing the kind of artwork that I make. They have the sensitivities, the sentiments, the sensibilities of the kind of artwork that I am making, right? So if you look in Bombay, there's a gallery called Tark. Tark looks at a lot of young artists, right? They look at a lot of young artists, different medium. They're very, very friendly with unknown artists, newer artists, and they're trying to constantly look at the next generation of collectors, right? They're not trying to look at older collectors. So I think you guys should do some research on what the market is. But more than anything, let me tell you that luck is a huge factor in all of this, right? It is the luck of um, being in the right city at the right time, right? If Hussain was in Chennai in the 1940s, nobody will know who MF Hussain was, right? Or if, for example, Nandalal Bose decided that he will go to, I don't know, Lahore and go to the Mayo School to study art, as opposed to studying in Calcutta, right? So again, even in Calcutta, look at the number of artists that you know and don't know. The people who are part of Shantiniketan are more popular than the people who just studied at the college and didn't go into Shantiniketan, right? Like, if you don't have the pedigree of saying, oh, Nandalal Bose, B.B. Mukherjee, K.G. Subramaniam, and if you can't build that lineage, then it becomes very difficult for galleries to also peg who you are, right? So I think you guys should look at luck, but you should try and manipulate that luck. You should try and go to Bombay more often, be available in Calcutta more often, right? So I just want to wrap up very quickly. So just to tell you guys, I mean, to be very clear, and I know is kind of going off on certain tangents, but the thing is this: the work you guys are making has to be extremely well researched. It has to be extremely well executed. Artists forget that execution is very important, right? What I mean by execution is not drawing straight lines. If you're making a line, it has to be a line. If you're painting a surface, that surface has to be a fully finished surface, right? There is a difference between what is visual completeness, right? Why do we say in craft alone that something is high craftsmanship? Right? Because if the guy had carved it beautifully, so exceptionally, like we go to all our temples and say, oh, what beautiful carving. That level of aesthetic quality has to come in any artwork, right? It's not, excused from just because it's contemporary art doesn't mean that it should not be aesthetic. So look at your artwork for what it is, how good it is, and how much thought has gone into it, how much research. How much can you speak about your artwork, right? How much do you have to speak for your artwork, which is very different. You should not be speaking for your artwork. If you've painted or if you've made a good artwork, it will speak. But how do you speak about your artwork, right? That is, it is this is what I did, this is my thought, this is my idea, this is why I like it. And this is the concept. Simple. You should not say, I have to speak full Ramayana to understand what you painted. Nobody wants that, right? So the other thing is, learn to communicate. Communicating is very, very, very important. I say this all the time to both artists who are regional, people who are not comfortable in more than one. Hindi is good, English is better, but people who do get stuck in regional languages tend to suffer a lot more because they're not able to cut through larger boundaries, right? So even for me, like I can understand Hindi, I can't speak Hindi, and I work out of Bombay, but the ability for me to at least confidently speak and kind of get through things helps me to reach out to people. So communication is very, very important, right? And communicating, hi Shriju, I know you've joined us at a random moment, but I've just been talking about how to
continue actually.
Galleries. Sure. So just to quickly do that, and then of course, always know your market pricing, right? That's very important. When people come to you, you have to peg what your artwork is worth. For you, it might be worth a lot, right? But for an artist who is 30 years old, their artwork should be 1 lakh, 2 lakhs. An artist who's 40 years old can say 5 lakhs, 10 lakhs, right? An artist who has been selling 100 works at 1 lakh can say 20 lakhs. See, that's the market. So what an artist thinks is different. But what the market says is, can I sell 20 works, 30 works of an artist at a price that people are willing to try out, right? Like when you're starting your career, it's like giving samples. Your artwork is like if you go to an ice cream parlor and you say, I want to try this flavor, I want to try that flavor, the buyer and the gallery is doing the same thing with you. right? They're saying, I want to try this artist, see how they're selling. How is my buyer reacting to it? Does my buyer want to buy more? Are other people wanting to buy it? Right? Then they will slowly. So price is something that you should not be concerned about, but you should also be aware of and make sure you're not overpricing yourself, right? Underpricing in the art market is never a problem. Never a problem. Like, honestly, there's been enough times at the residency where I'll be like, okay, I have to buy this artist's work, but I can't. I can't spend 20,000, 30,000 rupees on an artwork, but a lot of people can, right? But if sometimes I go to these, I mean, I won't mention who the artist is, they love his work, but I can't afford 2 lakhs, right? So, but if he sells his work at 50,000, 70,000, maybe he'll sell 100 of those, but then he might want to watch what his market is. Maybe he doesn't want to be known as the artist who's selling, the similar kind of work. So you have to gradually climb, be available at the right prices in the market. That's something you guys have to be very aware of, right? So yeah, so all these things put together, I think, is how you should look at approaching the market and galleries. But yeah, being available, being there, talking, is very important. And if you're going to sit at home and not talk, it's very difficult, right? So I will see you guys more and more in public, art forums when we can, right? So, and it's also very important that your work gets seen. I hope all of you guys have an Instagram account where you're putting up your artwork, or at least, pictures of your studio, pictures of what you're thinking, pictures of what you're doing. She has like 20,000 followers. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to, be involved, and people say, I don't know if she sells, that's a whole other issue, but at least people are seeing you're building a brand. Brand building for an artist is very important. Like, people talk about Hussein, and I'm sorry I keep bringing him up because he's one of the best PR people that I know in the art world. Whether he sold 100 paintings for 1 crore each, we don't know. But at least when he said it, the whole world said MF Hussein is selling one painting for 1 crore, right? So at his age, when he was 85 years old, he said that. Then when it became politically difficult for him, he left India. That's fine. But him leaving India had more popularity than him staying in India and fighting. And then he went to Qatar. He said, I won't come back. I'm giving up everything he did was for news, right? So once you get to that stage, of course you can. But the point is, you guys need to be seen, heard of, and make some noise. So nowadays, social media is a great way to do that. It's a great way to express your ideas and for people to see what you're thinking about, right? So anyway, I'm going to end that right there because you guys have more meaningful things to talk about. Hopefully that gave you guys some kind of an idea.
Yeah. Any questions?
I'm just looking.
Yeah.
Yes, I have a question. That
Yeah.
how do we realize that the gallery is like this kind of work, or this gallery can promote, or this gallery can be interested in my work before approaching? So then I can approach. So how to know first that means how they will react, how their reaction to see my work. So how to know about that first?
Right. So as I said, deploy all these methods that I told you. First, approach the gallery, right? Like it's a one-way thing. You don't know if a gallery wants to even look at you. You don't know if a gallery wants to sell anything. First, approach a gallery, right? So I'll tell you how I give you the market perspective on how I look at an artist. I don't look for artists. I don't go there saying, oh, I want artist. But artists know in Chennai, there's a gallery. Here's this guy who can sell some artwork. So they approach me, right? All artists who send me artwork, I look at. Any gallery will look at. Whether they, because they have to open the email to see, okay, this is artwork. They look at it. Right there, two things will happen. Looks interesting. This is terrible, right? people, and I'm assuming since I'm talking to you guys who have been part of our residency, you've been through programs, so that reaction is not going to happen to you saying, oh, this is average. They will look at it. And when you write saying, hi, I'm so and so, I'm an artist based out of here, I'm looking to explore new avenues, I want to reach out to you because I like your gallery's programming, could you look at this? I have been part of this. Don't send a full resume. Don't send a CV. Just say, I've been part of Piramal Art Residency. I had a show in this gallery. I am showing here currently, and I want to reach out to you, right? And I've attached some of my images of my artwork. Don't send them essays. Just image, title, size, that's it. They'll see it. They may not reply to you. 1 month later, hope you're doing well, just following up, if I can set up a call with you, would like to share my artwork with you. They may not reply to that. Then you tell them, hi, I'm coming next month to Bombay or Delhi or Jaipur or wherever. Do you think you could spare a few minutes? I'd love to meet you. I want to see your gallery, but I'd also love to meet you. I'm coming there. They will be like, oh, okay, who's this coming? Fine. Or they may be like, again, they'll ignore you, right? Send them back an email another month later. So this is already 4 or 5 months going on, right? At one point, the gallery will be like, okay, who is this person? Why are they continuously sending emails? Okay, fine. Let me spend time and look at their artwork, at least so I can send a reply. Chances are, when they look at your artwork, they will like it because now they are wanting to look at your email and your artwork, right? So it's kind of like you are sculpting. You have to keep sculpting the stone, only then it will go from being one random form to having some shape, right? So then they look at your email, maybe they'll respond, right? So you have to constantly keep pushing galleries. I think that's how. So for me, when artists come to me again and again and again, if they're bad, I give them the, I do the correct thing. I say, hey, your work needs more practice. You need to do better things. This is not the style we look for. This is not our direction. We tell them that clearly. We don't waste their time. But if it's somebody who I think is good, I tell them, okay, fine. Come back to me. Show me what you're doing now. What is your current practice? What are your pricing? So if the artist comes to me and says, okay, pricing, you shouldn't tell them, oh, you price it whatever you want. You tell them, I am currently pricing my works at this price, but since I'm looking for a gallery or since I'm looking to work with a gallery and a mentor, I would like advice on pricing as well. What do you think that my works can get? So everything you kind of throw it back at the gallery. And more than anything, you know what a gallery likes? A gallery likes a loyal artist. They want you to work with them. They want you to continuously work with them. They want you to say, I have a collector, but they're going to contact you to buy the artwork. Right? That is how, like, if you think, how is Subodh or TNT or Jitish Kalath and all that, where they are, is no matter what happens, even the, Ambanis can come to Jitish Kalath and say, we want to buy your work. He will never say, buy it from me. He says, sure, if the work is in Bombay, Chemold will sell it to you. If the work is in Delhi, Nature Mart will sell it to you. That loyalty is extremely important, right? That is something that galleries really, really value, right? Whatever said and done, you have to keep saying, the gallery will support it, the gallery will discuss with you, the gallery will reach out to you. And the more you do marketing and give leads to the gallery will love you more. Because the gallery is also spending money on you, they're storing your artwork, they're exhibiting your artwork, they're marketing your artwork, they take you for art fairs, they take you and put up exhibitions, right? So there is an expense. And eventually, if you build this relationship for 20 years, then sure, your work's price will go up, they'll sell your work, right? That's the other thing. An artist's typical peak, when they go from being nothing to something, takes 20, 30 years. Right? We forget that when a painting of Raza sold for 1 crore for the first time, Raza was 84 years old. He could have taken that 1 crore and probably bought himself a better wheelchair. That's all. right? It's not like he was making that kind. I mean, think about Tayyab Mehta. He couldn't pay for his dialysis. He died of kidney failure. His painting was selling for 20 crores, 25 crores. But for 5 years, he couldn't paint. He didn't have paintings to sell for even 1 crore when his painting was selling for 20 crores, right? So it's artists don't make that kind of money when they're alive. I mean, I know Kishan Khanna very well. He's very close to me, and he's 95. He's painting every day, but he's 95 years old. And only now people come to him and pay him some 50 lakhs for a painting. And he tells me, what do I do with 50 lakhs when I'm 95? So you go to Amazon and buy one new running shoe for 4,000 rupees. That's all. For 50 lakhs, he knows how to spend only 4,000 rupees and nothing else. So you guys should also learn how to pace yourself. Make sure you survive that next 30 years. How should what is important is more and more works go into the market. Your agenda should be, I don't know if I make money, but a collector should have my work. Right? That's very important. So when you go to galleries, tell them that. Tell them, I want collectors to have my work. Don't worry about money. Don't worry about percentage. Don't worry about 33%, 40%. You want 60%, take 60%. But give me a show. Take me for the art fair. Let's do some, interesting talks with collectors. Let's invite me for things. They'll do that happily. And I think, but be persistent. Any artist that I work with has been chasing me for at least 2-3 years. I'm not boasting. What I'm saying is it's part of my process. Only if an artist is chasing me, that artist is thirsty, hungry, determined. Right? If they disappear, then they're not what? They'll disappear anytime. Right? So I think that's how you should pursue this. So find a gallery and chase them. Chase them relentlessly till they say, oh my God, come, let's meet. I'll give you a show just so that you'll stop chasing me, But the chances are your work will also be good.
Yes.
So, Ashwin,
yeah.
can I ask a question which I think is relevant?
Sure.
Many artists send across works for their shows to galleries. Like if they're having a solo show, especially, they send across 30-40 works, and very often it's not accompanied by proper documentation on the artist side. So while initially everything is okay, subsequent to the exhibition getting over, there is room for confusion. Like I sent a certain number of works and the gallery saying you didn't send that many. So what are the kind of documentation practices that should accompany working with a gallery, like artists noting down certain things? How do they go about it so that the relationship between a gallery and an artist is not spoiled, and secondly, the interest of the artist is also safeguarded?
Good question, Vaishnavi. I think this is something that most artists don't consider. So while we're talking about getting your foot in the door, and while you're talking about finding a gallery, whether you have a gallery or not, or selling artwork, documentation is very important. And here I'll tell you the story of Raza, right? When Raza went to Paris, he was lucky to go to Paris, where they have a long culture of documentation. Any artist who makes an artwork will give his artwork a serial number. Any French artist working in Paris in the 40s, 50s, even till today, they do that. So even if it's a scribbling pad, you said, Mamita, you're saying you're working on, a sketchbook and stuff like that. Every page should be given a number and an archive data at the back. You should catalog, you should photograph, you should make sure that you're creating your own archive. And when you give artworks to a gallery, make sure that you have a written contract, at least a delivery challan, an email saying this work, this number, this serial number has been sent to you. Documentation is very important, whether you're selling the work or not. Because 40 years from now, somebody will come to you and say, hey, can I have your early works? You painted it in 2019, 20, 21, 25. Because they look similar, like over 4-5 years, you'll be painting similar works, and then you'll be dating something that's from 2025 as 2019. Then the art historian who's writing a biography will not know what to write. So your biography, so things like people like Raza, his biography is very confused because people don't know which work was painted when. Was it in the 60s, 50s, 40s, right? So even though he did his catalog number, a lot of the works didn't have dates. Works didn't have, time references. So it's very important that you guys document every work that you do. It's a good point that you brought up, Vaishnavi. Not just about consigning artwork, but just your own personal catalog of everything you create.